Hey there, my fine feathered friends. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole about knives and such a few months ago, and thought I might want to expand on what the bros like to call EDC or everyday carry. I should say precisely no woman I've ever brought up EDC knew what the heck I was talking about, but they should because it's cool. So, this is the result of my dive into the rabbit hole. This is like the I'm probably carrying too much stuff with me version, but on Amazon I found this Viperod, don't know if I'm saying that right, little kind of taco clamshell case, which I thought was a nice balance of carrying a lot of stuff but not being too bulky. However, that said, I would not put this in my pocket. It's really ridiculous in my opinion in that way. Of course, this is coming from a person who feels like carrying a cell phone in the pocket is overdoing it practically, especially the way a lot of them are made nowadays. But starting on the outside, on sale at REI, I found the Benchmade mini bug out, which was sure hard to resist. Between a coupon and the sale, I think I got it for 120 bucks, and it is really nice. So that's on the outside. And this is where the fun begins. Whoosh. So, chapstick, because, you ought to have that. And in truth, I have this lighter because, I'm not going to need to start a fire, at least in the city. But other people might want a lighter for things. Here in Seattle, some fool with a joint probably. But in any case, maybe you're cool if you've got a lighter to lend. In reality, I wouldn't always carry that. I might put my color-coordinated chapstick there instead. This is a redundancy to what's going on in this little Victorinox here. They don't make these anymore at Night Eyes, but a lot of people like to carry pens, and they, if you go on YouTube, they've got a million really expensive pens, which seems crazy to me because I'm going to lose them, and I don't actually need them that much to justify spending a lot. But this one's pretty great. It's comfortable as is in a pinch like this, but you can kind of do a little shimmy with these caps, and it turns into a full-size pen if you want it to. Otherwise, it's keychain size, this little loop here. It does fit pretty nice. But in reality, in this kit, I don't need it because it's already covered on one of my other bases. I have this Rovivon flashlight, which seemed like a perfect balance for me in terms of being so small, but also it's quite powerful. I think it's the Aurora A8 maybe. It's got, let me see if I can do this here. It's got several settings. Sorry, I'm still sometimes getting used to the settings here. And you've got like low, medium, high. And if you give 3, you've got a black light. Then you can press it again, red light, again, red flashing, and then a faster pulse red flash here. And then if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got my ambient light at 2 settings, which can be nice, like just on your counter. Maybe you're camping on a picnic table, or you've got it on the bill of your baseball cap visor, and you can see what you're doing in the dark. This could be really useful for me motorcycling when you've got to do some spot maintenance or even change a tire and it's dark. You can just either let it be ambient or put it on the, like I said, on the bill of your cap. So that's pretty awesome. This you can take off, but I added it because it's a second magnetic option, and it's really strong. Either way, put a little paracord on this. You could drop it down to extract some keys. It's not quite good enough as a motorcycle related extractor, but it's always nice to have a magnet to pull something that's out of reach. So then there's that. This I had somebody buy me for Christmas, and it's pretty brilliant. Felix Imler on YouTube liked a similar version without the flashlight, but I like this one because what makes it really special is it's got a flashlight, which in a pinch makes that redundant, and a pen, which actually makes that redundant. But it's great. It's got the little, you're not going to pry much with this, but a little flathead file, scissors here, and unique on a small Swiss Army knife, or on a lot of Swiss Army knives. This has a small Phillips head. I've tried it out even on some decent sized screws, and it works pretty well. I've used it at work. And a little mini blade. And to be honest, I'll tell you more about this later. In a pinch, this is really all I need in a day, coupled with one other blade. And there goes the magnet. And then over here, when I got the Benchmade bug out, I just ran into this little emergency whistle and decided to pick that up at REI. Here, I know it's kind of like on YouTube, there's like a little love affair right now with these little pliers. But the Knipex Cobra 4-inch pliers are actually awesome because they're super small. And like a lot of stuff, people say, why are you carrying that? What good is it? I have used everything, and it's so great not to have to run to a toolbox or see if somebody else has a tool around that'll take care of your needs. I think 2 days after I bought this, I had it with me, and I can apply, of course, to a motorcycle just as well, but I was on my scooter, and the mirror got loose and was flapping about. Just pulled over, pulled these out, tightened things up, kept on going. Absolutely great. So, big fan of those. I was looking at a lot of different options, including the Victorinox ones for a little ratchet, and I settled on this one by Presticycle. You can put a bit in here. You could extend this if that helped you. Obviously, you can extend it this way and ratchet it. But you'll notice there's little black dots here and a little, I don't know if you can see it, little red dot there. And if you line those up, it actually pushes all the way through. You've got this great T-handle. But if you don't line them up, it'll just stay solid. I'm not going to fuss with that, but clicks in, stays solid that way. So those are super awesome. And then here, so you can see that pack a little more. These are just bits. It's a 20-bit set put into these little mini tins that I had picked up on Amazon. It's the mole work, and it's obviously a 1/4 bit. And then in here also, this is the odds and ends tin. I haven't really super thought this out yet, but some meds like naproxen, Tylenol, and the aluminum foil. Since this little guy with the pen doesn't have the tweezer, I put tweezers in here. You know, just the obvious little doodads you might want, safety pin, sewing needle. You could put some thread on there. I need to figure out what I want to put in there. Maybe, I don't know, floss, who knows. In here, you could put your ID. I've done that before, driver's license. I could maybe put Write in the Rain paper on there. Any number of things. I have a couple of zip ties in here. I'd probably add some more of those. But I've just got some paracord, a Band-Aid, little dental floss toothpick thingy, just because I was just kind of having fun going around the house to see what I could stuff in there. But all that packs up really nicely. On the other hand, you don't always want to carry this big, ridiculous thing. I should add before I go on, though, that if I do, I hate bum bags, but this one's not too big, and this fits in perfectly along with my cell phone and car keys. So that's how I would probably carry this if I didn't have a proper bag with me. I just would not put it in my front pocket is probably the main point. But on days that I'm not carrying all of this with me, what I might do is this. I would take this and my Alox Bantam, Victorinox Bantam, which coupled together is nothing and covers 90% of my real world everyday needs. Or a middle ground. I have resurrected this wallet that I had lying around. You know, your ID can go in here, some odds and ends can go in here, but you can add all sorts of things in there. For example, I might take this knife, which other than this option that I talked about, is a great everyday carry. Get rid of this, get rid of this little one in here, and you just have this number, which, you know, you don't have your pen and your flashlight, but boy, I love it. The best thing about it is that it has a locking blade, which is uncommon on this size, length Swiss Army knife. I think it's the Evo 17 or perhaps 18. The only difference being corkscrew versus Phillips head here. You know what I'm talking about, but like the firefly, or maybe this is the fire bug, whatever the heck they call it. But you know, it's like the little fire striker here with a little tinder in the bottom. If this gets sort of chaffed, the tinder, by your pants, it'll kind of degrade, you know, because it's wax coated. So I just put a little Gorilla Tape around it. That's probably something I would eventually add in here, is some flat Gorilla Tape, or, you know, what do you call it, duct tape. And then otherwise, too much crap. Otherwise, I got this little cadet with custom scales off of Etsy. I forget the name of the vendor now. He's here in Washington State. But it's just got the custom scales, and it's really nice. So that's if I'm feeling extra pretty and fancy in a day. And then the last thing I picked up was a screw pop. Little box cutter utility knife type of deal. Just because it's small. And, you know, people like to have this kind of thing so they're not dulling a fancy blade. I don't have any particularly fancy blades here to worry about that. But I got this in a state of mind where the TSA just drives me up the wall with their, you know, security theater. But if you're traveling, you know, you can just bring this with you, pick up a blade at your destination. Magnet sort of pulls it back. There's way fancier versions, but to me that's silly. So this little number on Amazon, I don't know, I feel like it was under $10. But the fact that I'm allowed to take a pen on a plane and like in the right hands with a special set of skills could like totally hurt someone, versus a non-locking itty bitty blade here is like not a threat. So wake up, TSA, rant over on that one. But yeah, so that's the deal. All this hoo-ha, figuring out how to package it one way or the other. It's just a lot of fun. I'm sure I'll keep having some fun figuring out, you know, I go into my drawer where I've got it all neatly laid out and like little dividers and stuff. What am I going to want to carry today? It's kind of like a hobby, but in truth, every single thing in here has been put to task, and a lot of it right up front, you know, and with some decent regularity. And I'm a nurse in a clinic, and you'd think, well, what does a nurse need any of this garbage with her for? I'll tell you what, I've come to the rescue several times. You get that reputation and you'll become the rescue person, which I kind of like. So anyway, hope this was fun for you too. All right, take it easy. So putting this video together was on a whim. So since it wasn't perfectly well thought out, I thought I'd expand a little bit on this much smaller version. Again, you can sort of switch out a lot of other really small things, but here's one version. Credit cards here on the outside. Then also on this outside pocket, just the bantam knife with the single blade, and your flathead / pry tool / wire cutter / bottle opener. Use this configuration on the Victorinox knives a lot as a pretty decent pry tool. You know, obviously it's not too muscular, but it's something. So that's just on the outside. And then you can fit so much stuff in here. So again, I've got my little Midnight Manager, little whistle, chapstick, pliers, bits, the little Rovivon flashlight, and in the bottom, the Presticycle ratchet. So all of that goes in there, and you know, you might want to maybe trade one of these things out. You could probably cram it all in, but that seems a little extra. But all those fit in there really nicely. Or you might pick something bigger like this and get rid of, you know, a couple smaller things, you know, to make it work. Something like that could work easily. I want to elaborate on this Swiss Army knife because I really do adore it. I think I adore it because other than the locking blade and this kind of grippy scale on the outside, it's just like the one thing that I have from my dad after he died. And so carrying this makes me feel connected to my dad, which I love. But it really just has everything a girl could want. You've got your nail file and your little cleaner, whatever. The locking blade, which, as I said, is the best thing in the world and perhaps the best part of this knife. Your little flathead pry situation, wire cutter, and bottle cap opener. All this is pretty normal. Smaller flathead and can opener. And your scissors. And, a saw. What? So that's a lot. That's a lot of turf right there. And then on the back side, the only thing is, it might be hard to open a little bit sometimes when the others are open, but this little reamer, I don't know why I can't think of its proper name right now, but it is kind of handy. Sometimes I wonder if I'm walking in the streets, to work at night. Oh yeah, locks. Put all that back. Women were always carrying our car keys or something. I'm in an urban area and it's dark and sometimes it's a little squirrely. That could work. Or if you're worried about doing that and that this might slice your own finger a little bit, which I suppose it could, this would make a pretty good kind of get off me punch. And it carries actually pretty discreetly, like this in the dark. You can even sort of hang it while you're walking in your hand and nobody would see it. You don't even have to clutch it. But it's actually kind of fidgety carrying this thing, around to work, as I've done a few times. I like it. But anyway, love out to my dad. I'll Swiss Army knife fan, and this knife rules. Or if you're feeling dainty, this one rules. All right, bye guys.